Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Nayasim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. I don't know if you all are following the story of uh what's his name again? Abrego Garcia, right? Who was taken to El Salvador, right? So now, President, your Orange Man and El Salvador Bukele had a meeting at the Oval Office, and they were talking about, and Bukele, the El Salvador president, said that he did not have any power to return the man. And I am asking, are you not in agreement with uh, U.S. president that people will be sent back to your country? Because if you are not in agreement with his decision, you absolutely will return whoever that is being sent to your country without your consent. Well, I am telling you that he is in agreement with him. And now they are saying that homegrown, homegrown will be taken to El Salvador, like that is Americans. And somebody is saying is when you commit crime, and I am asking, Abrego Gasha, did he commit any crime that he was sent there? Of course, he did not commit any crime, which means anything might happen at any time. And he is telling them, the Bukele, to build more places for him. That is to tell you there is already a contract between El Salvador and your president, America. Now, what I am telling my people is that I am not into fear mongering and all of that. I mean, this is just a period that you have. If you have kids, you have nephew and niece, this is a very good period to sit them down and speak to them on some certain things going on. Let's get into this video.
Trump says homegrown Americans are next to go to El Salvador. Tells Bukele, gotta build about 5 more places. To clarify, the President of the United States just asked the President of El Salvador live in the Oval Office on a hot mic to build him 5 more prisons because he's going to be sending United States citizens to fill them. Of all the things you have heard the Trump administration say and do over the course of the last few months and their first term, this is by far the most disturbing. Not 15 minutes later, when asked by reporters directly if he had ever thought about the idea of sending U.S. citizens to El Salvador prisons, he doubled down. Trump said, and I quote, "I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking into those laws." I made a video earlier about the Kilmar Garcia situation. This is the man from Maryland who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador by the Trump administration. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that the U.S. government needs to facilitate his return to the United States, and the Trump administration said no. Earlier, I made the point that the Kilmar Garcia case was the test case on the U.S. deporting United States citizens to El Salvador. And now we have evidence of this from the spray tan mouth of Mango Mussolini himself. Things are getting really crazy. Stay tuned, like, follow, and share for more information as we follow this and all the other crazy stories coming out of the Trump administration.
We're past constitutional crisis. We are in full-on fascism now. No clever editing or music this time. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man who was accidentally deported to an El Salvadorian prison, who the Supreme Court 9-0, think about how conservative this Supreme Court is, 9-0 ruled that he must be returned to the United States government, must facilitate his return to the United States as he was here legally and had no criminal record. Now the United States government, the executive branch, is denying this act. They're saying that they do not have to follow this ruling, that they can just leave it open to him returning if El Salvador wants to return him. And today, in a meeting between the president of El Salvador and Donald Trump, El Salvador said that they were not interested in releasing terrorists. And Trump responded with, they would love to see criminals come back into our country. And so at this point, the question being asked, right, if the Supreme Court is to decide the legality of the law, it is to decide just what holds up to the Constitution, and the executive branch their job is to enforce it. Who enforces things against the executive branch? People have noted that the only president in history to notably defy the acts of the Supreme Court was Andrew Jackson, who then led Native and Indigenous people into the Trail of Tears. So I guess the question really remains that if this is a test run, nobody or anything is safe because the executive branch can do what it wants with no consequences and no oversight. The checks and balances are not checking or balancing. We're still yet to see how this is going to play out. They have apparently until Friday to explain how this process is going, but they have done nothing more other than state that he is alive. They have not stated what condition he is in or how he is doing, just simply that he is alive. El Salvador and the United States government have struck up a multi-million-dollar deal to house these people in these prisons. There are companies that host the flights. They are also making money off of this. Ultimately, right now, your security as a citizen is at risk because people can make money from it. So that's where we are right now.
In breaking news, President of El Salvador says he will not return the deported Maryland man to U.S. in a meeting this morning. Sitting in the Oval Office with President Trump, the president of El Salvador said he couldn't return Maryland man who the administration was mistakenly deported and sent to the notorious prison in El Salvador, and whose release the Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to facilitate. He said, "How can I return him to the U.S.?" before asking reporters if he should smuggle him into the country during a back and forth over the man release. "I don't have the power to return him to the United States." What is happening in this country? So how can this man get back to his family? The President of the United States is responsible for getting this man back to his family, and he has to figure it out.
So can we talk about the Salvadorian president and Trump's meet today, when he is openly speaking about sending American citizens to El Salvador and telling the president he needs to build more jails to hold more prisoners because we have some bad ones here. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. If they can take that young man without due process, without even checking to see if he is in fact a gang member, a person who's been living here, working here, doing everything he's supposed to do, and decide that they will not bring him back despite the Supreme Court. Please remember, we have 3 branches of government. What does that mean to you? That means that any given person can be picked up at any given time, taken to El Salvador, and be called a prisoner, a criminal, a gang member, with no due process, and not let back into this country. Do you still believe we're living in a democratic country? Do you still believe that we're living in a democratic country? Are you listening to what they're talking about doing? And he's laughing it off and saying, you need to build more prisons. You will need to build about 4 more of these places. If you're not yet worried about what is happening to this country, if you do not see where this is going, if you do not understand that anyone, you're out there slinging, doesn't matter if you're born here, you're whatever, you could get picked up. You could get picked up and sent to a country you know nothing about, put in a prison that make this country's prisons look like a hotel. This has become our reality. When the president is no longer listening to the Supreme Court, we have a problem. We have a problem. We have a problem. We have a problem. And I hope you guys are starting to understand the level of trouble we're in. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
So homegrown is next. Okay, fine. Can we please start with the ones running around here with these costumes on? You know, the white costumes. Can you go get them? Because the Justice Department has labeled them as the biggest threat domestically for the United States of America that the United States of America got and has had till this day. So can we get them and go get law enforcement to gather them up and get them out of here? Send them on over to El Salvador. Homegrown, right? Let's start with the ones walking around with these costumes on. You know, the white costumes, the sheets and stuff. Let's get them. Let's get them, gather them up, and get them on out of here. Because like I said, the Justice Department of the United States of America has labeled them a domestic threat, the biggest domestic threat that the United States got and have had for years. So, go get them. There go your homegrown right there.
The more I pay attention to this issue with El Salvador, the more disturbing it gets. I watched the press conference live with Trump and the president of El Salvador, and they're just blatantly not listening or complying with the Supreme Court's decision that supports that federal judge's decision to bring him back. They are intentionally misinterpreting their decision, the Supreme Court's decision, so that they can then lie about the facts, the actual facts around Kilmar to fit into this misinterpreted understanding of the decision. That is what they're doing. They're saying he's a T risk, to catch my drift, which is not true, and that it was found by like a court that he's a part of, the group of people that they're designating as that, if you catch my drift. That's not true. Factually incorrect. Just bold-faced lying. Again, we know they do that, but they're doing it to aid in defying judges. And also they're threatening judges too. They're just sending them pizzas to their house. One of the federal judges had a pizza sent from their child that is no longer with us, with his name on it. And on top of that, y'all know I'm very particular about the information I take in on this app. There's a lot of misinformation on here, and sometimes even disinformation, but particularly misinformation. And I try to be very careful and fact check as much as I can. And I saw somebody mention something about Google Maps and satellite images when it comes to that facility in El Salvador. I went and looked at it myself, and what I saw is extremely disturbing, and I saw it with my own eyes. I'm not going to go into detail on what it is. If you want to look and see, it is there. You might have to type it out explicitly, fully, but it's there, and it is very disturbing. I cannot think of anything else it could be other than what a lot of us are coming to a conclusion about. I do not think, and they've basically explicitly said, that this is a place that people are not meant to leave. And the added element to that is leave alive. And as a separate note, completely separate note, in the 30s and early 40s, they did not keep their people in the country, if you catch my drift, for the most part. So, it's very hard to make me speechless at this point. But that press conference made me sick to my stomach. Deeply sick to my stomach. So, this cannot be something we just let fly under the radar. We cannot let this go. This, like I said yesterday, is what everyone needs to be focused on. This. Because this is, I cannot overstate, how dangerous all of this is and how concerned I am for Kilmar and his safety and well-being. So please pay attention to this, even if you're not into paying attention to politics. You need to see what is happening right now, because this is happening to this degree has not happened before. So please pay attention.
All right, so Trump mentioned that homegrown criminals are going to go to El Salvador. Today he spoke with the El Salvador president, and guess what? He said homegrown, and everybody's losing their fucking mind like dumbasses. Now they're saying, oh, you're going to be next. Look, Chinese, Asian, black, if you're homegrown and you're from the United States of America, you're going to be next. You're going to go to El Salvador. Lie. People on here irritate my fucking soul because sometimes I just want to see some news, some good content. But instead, people are putting fear in people's hearts, thinking that they're going to go to El Salvador. Bro, please, cut the shit. Some of you guys are fucking complete ass. Okay? Yes, if you're homegrown and you're a fucking criminal, you're going to jail in El Salvador. Oh my God. It's almost like you guys are against criminals being criminals. Like you support criminals being criminals. Something needs to happen to these criminals, just like with that dude with the Tesla situation at the dealerships. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Yes, all of them need to be held accountable. Homegrown, Chinatown, don't fucking matter. Wherever you're from, and if you're a criminal, you're going to El Salvador. Have a good time. I hope you enjoy that El Salvador food, because I'm pretty sure it's not as good as the United... Okay, maybe they got good food. But my point is, homegrown criminals, yes, are going to go to El Salvador. Congratulations. I bet all the smart people that understand they're still a criminal understand that there's nothing wrong with this situation at all. So just cut the fucking shit, you fucking... You know what? Have a good day. You sexy motherfucker.
Quick question. When Trump is talking about sending homegrown Americans in the worst of the worst, who do y'all think the worst of the worst is? He's talking about you, and he's talking about people like me. He called people that were protesting after George Floyd died the worst of the worst. Transgender people who he has been attacking for years are the worst of the worst. He calls them lunatics. Antifa, which is not even a group, it's a loose collection of people that essentially are anti-fascist. That's what Antifa stands for. Anti-fascist, the worst of the worst. Terrorists. Mahmoud Khalil, someone that is literally protesting, okay? Somebody that did not do anything illegal at all whatsoever. Lawful advocacy to Trump, that is the worst of the worst. So keep in mind, these people that he's talking about sending, these are people that have committed terrible crimes that he's trying to save us from. America has systems. America has some of the largest prison populations in the entire world, okay? We have a lot of prisoners here. This prison system is more than capable to house people. He's talking about sending Americans over to a torture facility known for not letting people out of their prison, like, ever. And, like, the bells aren't ringing?
This is all I got from this video, and sincerely speaking, what is going on so far is really, 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 really scary, you know. And this is what Black people tried so hard to let people know that it is not going to really be an entertainment. It's not going to be easy. It's not something that will be okay. It's not gonna be nice. That's why they try all they could, all they can, to make sure that people do not fall into the trap. Still, people fell into the trap. He is saying homegrown. That guy that has logs, that is there shouting. The guy that they took down to that El Salvador, did he do anything? Of course, he did not do anything. But now he is a criminal. And you think people might not be picked up also and be taken there. A lot of people are going to fall as victims. A lot of people will be victims. See, if what is going on is not scary for the people that voted for this man, then you don't know what is going on. Because tell me how they picked up somebody for no reason. And the judge, the Supreme Court has ordered for his return. This is to tell you that you people voted for fascism. You voted for a fascist, and he is out here doing his thing. Did he tell you all that all these were going to happen? He absolutely made it clear, because he never lied about his intentions. His intentions is that he does not have any good intention for you. It's as simple as that. I do not have any good intention for you. You all thought it was a joke. Now it is hitting home. Did black people tell you people? Of course, black people did. They tried their very best to make sure that this did not repeat, that like what is going on do not happen. But you all call them DEI. Yeah, they are DEI. And now, what is going on? This is to tell you that when these people start acting, they don't care. They do not care. Are you seeing them talking about anything aloud? Of course they are not. It's mostly people of black people and other people of color that are so much into the story, talking about it. I saw his Oval Office with the El Salvador carrier, or what his name is, and he said he does not have any. He doesn't have the power to return the young man back. How can jeez. The problem is that some people are already bought, because because if you do not have an agreement with the US president, he cannot wake up and send somebody to your country. You had an agreement with him. So coming out here to tell us that you do not have any power to send him back to US is just you telling us stories. Because how did he wake up? How did the US government wake up to send somebody to your country? Definitely there must be an agreement. And the young man is innocent. He didn't do anything. If not that you are operating with this man, are you not supposed to stand up and say, how dare you send somebody to my country that did not do anything? Or how dare you sending someone to, why is that happening? Ask questions and make immediate plans to return the person back to where he is coming from. You see, politics, racism is very, very expensive, but people really do not understand. What I am saying is that black people told you people, but then everybody really got to be very careful, because, excuse me, everybody got to be very careful, because these people, I do not trust any of them, not even for a minute. I do not even trust them with my people. I know nothing is going to happen to you, but we already need to be very careful. Bye for now.